Hey, it's Squidly. Fortunately, this is not going to be an exhaustive list of every piece of gear I should have changed sooner. This is going to be just a short list of about 5 things that I should have changed sooner, and for whatever reason I didn't. And I'll just kind of go through these and describe, 1, the things that I've changed, and 2, maybe the reason why I went ahead and changed them. Some of it may be obvious. All right, the first is going to be the cook kit. I used to have a much heavier stove. In fact, less than a year ago, I made a video where I said this. This is a Primus stove. The piezo igniter on it still works. Again, I've had this thing probably for about 18 years. And I still take it, and I still have no desire to replace it. Since that time, that stove that I really did like, but it was heavy. That joker was about 7 or 8 ounces, really, really heavy stove. The piezo igniter on it kind of quit. And since I had to have a lighter now to start it anyway, I thought, well, why don't I finally just go ahead and trade that in for something lighter? And I got the BRS stove, which is so common now. I also, this was probably a couple of years ago, I changed my cook pot. I had one of the big 2-quart MSR cook pots. The thing was stainless steel. It was heavy, it was huge. I could put my entire cook pot and probably half the food I was taking on a trip into this cook pot to carry it. And a couple of years ago, I switched to the Toaks 750 milliliter pot, and this thing is ideal. You can cook in it, and you can just boil your water to add to for rehydrating, and so this has turned out to be something that's ideal. Should have done this a long time ago. All right, the next one is the backpack. I did a video on some kind of gear updates that I had done, and this kind of goes along with that, but this is the Low Alpine Ophir, and when I got it, it was reasonably lightweight, but the technology is just way past this thing, and the downside to changing it out is that this pack is still a good pack, and in fact, it's the one that I'm probably this summer going to be letting someone borrow. I know they're going to be going on a trip with me, and if they don't buy one in between now and then, this is probably the one I'm going to loan to them. It's still in great shape, and I've had this thing forever. I've got a ton of miles on this. And so anyway, but I changed it out, and the change has come in 2 iterations. The first iteration was the Osprey Kestrel 48. This is a really good pack, and this is now the one that my son uses. And the other one is the Z-Packs Arc Hall. Also really like this pack, but this is just one of those things where I should have done this a very long time ago, and just for whatever reason I never did it, but well, now I'm doing it. This next one, it's a wonder I lasted as long as I did with this. It's my sleep pad, and I had an old Ridge Rest, and I guess I just kind of convinced myself that I'm comfortable with it, and I went a very long time just sleeping on ribbed foam. and finally, I don't know, I guess about a year and a half ago, I just decided this isn't comfortable anymore. And maybe it's a combination of my age and that the technology is just way beyond this. And so anyway, turned this in and exchanged it for the NeoAir X-Lite. And for the nights that I've had with the X-Lite, I look back and I just think, why did I continue suffering with that Ridge Rest? But anyway, I still sort of use the Ridge Rest. I cut a piece off that I use for my sit pad, so it still has a little bit of function. All right, this next one just is a kind of an admission on my part of maybe a lack of confidence, but using down. prior to about 2 years ago, I mean, and I've gone decades of this and just refused to use down because most of my hiking and backpacking is in pretty wet environments, and I just didn't have any confidence that I would be able to use down and keep it dry. So I thought, well, the safest thing is just to use synthetics. And so let me just show you. This is my synthetic winter sleeping bag. This thing is a concrete block. It is heavy, it is big, it's bulky, and I've gone years of using synthetics like this, and there's still an upside to using synthetics, but I finally decided, you know what, I'm just going to start switching out to down. And so I switched to the down hiking bike, Aeolus 15 and Aeolus 0. There's a video on these. I'll put it, it'll be up here in the cards. You can click on that and go check it out. But these are so much more lightweight, so much more compressible. And I'm also finding out that keeping them dry is really not that hard. Should have done this a long time ago. Shame on me. The last one is a food bag. And over time, I have used a lot of pretty silly things as a food bag. At one time, I went through a Walmart stuff sack, and that proved to be kind of not very functional. The buckle broke, and anyway, it was just not very good. I've used the plastic grocery bags. I've even had them where I tied a knot in the top of it and just had them suspended in a tree, and had them had them hanging to keep it away from the animals. But finally, I decided I would get a legit food bag, and I ordered it from Hilltop Packs. And what I found out was that even if you get the one with your logo on it or whatever printing of some picture you've taken or whatever you want on it, they're really not hardly much more expensive than just a plain one. So I got it with my logo on it, as silly as that may seem, but it's a great way to, when you're hanging it in a place where you have a lot of people hanging in the same place, just like the Smoky Mountains as an example. You're at the campsite, and there may be 10 other groups there hanging, there are 10 other people hanging their food bag. It's a great way to at a glance distinguish yours, because otherwise they're all pretty much going to look alike. But anyway, this is a change that I made, and pretty glad I did it, and one that I should have done a pretty long time ago. That's about it for this video. Do me a favor, and down in the comments, tell me what you think about these changes, or any changes that you've made recently, and let's just talk about that. And I'm always interested to hear what other people have to say. If you found any value in this video, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe. Now I gotta put all this up.